Hey everybody, Ben here for the Bonehead podcast, and welcome to Undead Team Development. So we are looking at the Undead team now. We've looked at starting rosters for them for League, we've looked at tournament rosters, so you can kind of tell what star players you can take with them as well. Now what we're going to do is look at the positionals in a little bit more detail. We're going to look at what skills they can take and when. Basically the idea is to give you more of an idea of what this team's going to look like developing it in a league in Blood Bowl 2020. So let's go have a look at the Undead team. And first up, we've got the big boys of the crew. So you get 0 to 2 Mummies on the Undead team, and they are fantastic players. So Mummies are 125,000, movement 3, strength 5, agility 5 plus, passing nothing, armor 10 plus, mighty blow plus 1, and regeneration. So these guys are the quintessential big guy blocker. Okay, movement absolute garbage, agility wouldn't even bother, but strength, mighty blow, and regeneration are all really solid, and with regen AV 10 plus, these guys are going to be around for the majority of the game. Downside of them is movement 3 means that if they get knocked on the ground, it's going to take them their entire turn to stand up. But hey, still better than a tree. Skills wise, it's going to be tough. There's going to be no touchdowns, there's going to be no completions with the Mummies, not really. So getting those SPPs are going to come from casualties. You've got a couple of choices here though. So on your primary skills, Brawler is poor man's block. So Brawler will let you re-roll one both down result in your block dice pool. Your strength 5, there's going to be mostly going to be 2 die blocks in your favour. So you're going to be able to re-roll that both down. It is good. It works for Black Orcs. It's going to work for Mummies. And these guys have got Mighty Blow. So every pow down you get is more likely to keep them down. On the other hand, you can save up 12 SPP and get block. So the cool thing is with Blood Bowl 2020 is you don't have to roll the dice. You don't have to do it. You can just wait for your mummy to get 12 SPP. On a tabletop league, it's going to be tough, and you're probably going to end up going more Brawler Guard. But in BB3 and stuff like that, if it plays out just like the tabletop, you're going to be able to grind out those 15 games or whatever it's going to take you to get to 12 SPP to get block, because block is the choice for Mummies. If you get the choice, then you have to go for block. I think most of the time you're going to end up hitting 6 SPP and wanting to take one of these 2 skills instead. Brawler, as we've already discussed, but also Guard is going to be fantastic. So the reason Guard is so good on a Mummy is because, like I said, AV 10 plus regeneration means that they're going to be on the pitch for the majority of the game, and with strength 5 they're going to be pretty resilient to being attacked anyway, and having Guard is going to mean that the folks who are either side of them are going to be even stronger. It makes even zombies and skeletons on your line into strength 4 blockers, which is very useful. Further down the line, Grab is going to be great to keep your opponent's pieces exactly where you want them. If you've got Guard and you've got some other pieces, you can farm those blocks off to somebody else, or simply just prepare for the walk down the pitch by guarding and by grabbing them into exactly where you want them to be. Break Tackle is not the skill it used to be for Mummies. It used to be sweet. Now it's going to mean that you are dodging into the open on a 3+ once per turn. If your Mummies are lagging behind, it is an option for you, but quite frankly, Brawler Guard is much better. Multiple block will be sweet once you get that little Guard complex going. If you've got 2 Mummies together with Guard and multiple block, well, that's 4 2-die blocks, basically. So multiple block is definitely one thing to consider. Big guys you can take the risk of a random skill for the most of the time. Armbar is going to be tough for them. Brawler is going to be good. Break Tackle is going to be medium. Grab is going to be quite useful. Guard is going to be good. Juggernaut is not going to be great. At movement 3, they make terrible blitzers. At best, you kind of have to burn your blitz to make the most of it to make them a more effective blocker. That's expensive. Mighty Blow is going to be a reroll. Multiple blocks is going to be fine. Worst case scenario, it's really 2 1-die blocks. That is quite bad with the big guys, so maybe just chuck an assist in there. Pile Driver on a Mummy, I wouldn't necessarily recommend. Sure, it's great to Mighty Blow a guy down and then place yourself prone and roll on their armor again. That's pretty sweet, except that roll on the armor is a foul, so they could end up being sent off, and that is pretty tough. And also, once the Mummy's on the ground, it's going to cost its entire movement turn to stand up. It's not a great combo. If you give it to it as like its 5th skill because you've been playing this mummy team for hundreds of games, well then definitely, but I wouldn't recommend it all that quickly. Stand Firm is going to be okay, and it's going to help just enable them to be really effective blockers. Strong Arm is going to be a reroll because you don't have to throw a teammate, and Thick Skull is unfortunately going to be a bit of a waste here with AV10 and regeneration. On the plus side, it's going to keep your mummy on the ground, so you can risk a random strength roll. I don't know, it is really tempting to just save up and take guard instead, or brawler if you want to be punching with it, or just saving 12 SPP and taking block. Defensive way down the line is going to be useful, and frenzy can be great on a mummy if you've already built some kind of guard net. Now we've got the Wight Blitzers, so they're 0 to 2 on this team, 90,000, movement 6, strength 3, agility 3+, armor 9+, and passing 5+. They actually can pass, I missed that bit. Block and regeneration, so again we've got a player with high armor, 9+, and regeneration, so this guy is going to be on the pitch for most of the time, which is great for the longevity, which means they're going to be able to accrue these SPPs. So online regen players are going to farm a ton of games and a ton of SPPs, which means you can pick exactly what you want. Tabletop is going to be more like you want to spend your SPPs when you get them to just get that net edge. So skills for the Wights: guard, mighty blow. Straight away. There's other stuff you can do with Wight Blitzers, absolutely, but guard and mighty blow are just going to come in so handy because these end up being your mobile pieces, your mobile removal piece. And when you think, actually, I want to be blocking with this guy, you do want to be blocking with this guy, but having guard on a Wight Blitzer at movement 6, at agility 3+, and they've got block, they can punch their way out and position themselves really exactly where you want them to be. Guard is going to enable anything they stand next to, so even if you've got a random skeleton somewhere, you can use your Wight Blitzer, take a cheeky 2-die blitz out, punch him away, get away, come and help, and you're farming another 2-die block by using guard. Guard will come in handy almost every single turn, and the Wight Blitzer, because they're agility 3+, they're going to be decent ball carriers, they're just going to enable everything they do. So guard is great on Wight Blitzers, mighty blow as well, because you kind of get the closest thing to point-click removal you can on the Undead team. I don't have anything else to say. There are some second tier skills. They make great safeties, so tackle works really well. Dauntless can be fun if you're in that environment, and this is where that second tier really depends on your league. If you're in a Chaos, Renegade, Ogre, Goblin, Troll land kind of build, or in a Lizardman, Black Orcs as well, Dauntless is going to be pretty sweet for you because it's going to mean that a lot of the time you're making that 1/2-die block with a guard support, and when you are doing that, you are winning the game. Frenzy as well can be really useful if you've got like a pack of them, so guard mighty blow on one, mighty blow, or guard frenzy on another. It means you can actually hunt in packs. Frenzy is risky unless you've got guard, and when you have got guard, it's just more and more dice being thrown. For the double side of it, because you can save up, it's not terrible to save up and go blodge on the Wight Blitzer. With the 3+ agility, it's average to good, so that's actually going to be really useful for keeping him mobile, keeping him alive when he's facing the blockings, and also just being able to dodge away 3+ with a reroll. It's going to mean that he can get out of dodge when he needs to, and you got a 3+ baseline there, so if you want to go and try a risky, desperate 2 tackle zone dodge in, it's a 5+ with a reroll, you can go for it, and in the long run defensive. The other option you can take is save up those 18 SPP and go for a stat up, because an agility 2+ Wight is sweet, strength 4 Wight is really good. Fail case of a Wight with movement 7 is alright. It is going to feel better than not. At that point though, I don't know if dodge would be a better choice. At 75,000, movement 7, strength 3, agility 3+, passing 4+, armor 8+, and dodge, the Ghoul Runners are the fastest player on the Undead team. These guys will be scoring most of your touchdowns along with those Wights, and they get to play the runner/catcher role. There's not going to be a lot of throwing, don't get me wrong, but that stretch of 7 to 7, one's going to be the ball carrier, and then you kind of got some options with ghouls. Wights are blitzers. They are blitzers for life. They don't do other stuff except murder other stuff. Ghoul Runners, you kind of got 2 angles. So a runner blocker is kind of the first one. So sure hands is really good on any ghoul that's going to be handling your ball. But block is key to keep them defended. So block, sprint, sidestep, things that are going to keep it mobile and keep it fast are going to enable that ghoul to score. But also stay protected. There's a second element of a Bull Sacker, so a Ghoul Runner that you can develop with Wrestle. And this all really ties into that first skill. It's not uncommon for us to say the first skill for most players should be looking around about a combat skill. And the Ghoul Runner is kind of delineated by block and wrestle. Block will protect you and will also be useful on defense, don't get me wrong, but block will be your runner. He will be the guy who runs the ball. Wrestle is the alternate build here with the ghouls. And because they're 3+ agility with dodge and movement 7, they make a good safety. You've got the wights. We've already talked about them developing guard. So wrestle on a dodge dude means you've got an option to get into where you need them to go. Guard is going to mean that that's going to be 2 dice. And 2 die wrestle is good times. So Ghoul Runners, one of them you need to go block. You can go sure hands on that ghoul as well. It's up to you which way round you go. If you're struggling on rerolls, then sure hands is probably a good idea. And the cool thing is, because it's League, you're going to get dozens of games in with these guys. So sure hands is going to come in handy way more than it would in a tournament. You're just going to keep on farming those skills if that guy is scoring. So you can go sure hands then block. Block is going to be more useful for offense and defense. The wrestle ghoul is going to be the alternative. It is bad to have wrestle when you are the ball carrier. It is good to have wrestle when you are attacking the ball carrier. So developing the ghouls, wrestle tackle works really well and block sure hands really well. And you kind of have to develop one ghoul to be the ball sacker, one guy to run the ball, and then you've got the other ghouls. And the other ghouls, quite frankly, can take block, and block is a great middle ground for you to be. So if in doubt, block it out, but wrestle is going to be really useful on one ghoul runner. They should be scoring some touchdowns, so on the ball is also not a terrible skill to consider giving to a runner. If he's going to be your ball carrier, you're going to get 3 extra squares at the beginning. That's movement 10 by the end of turn 1 for the guy you want to get the ball. That's wicked. Also, if he's going to be an attacker, guard on a double will be really, really useful. The thing is with ghouls, they're just really good players. They're 1 or 2 skills away from being really accomplished, and it's your choice because there are so many skills that work well on them. You just have to be very careful of your team. Block is any blodge ghoul is going to be sweet, okay, but you can go a bit more specific. If you haven't got a tackle piece, you can take a tackle piece. If you haven't got a frenzy piece, you can take a frenzy ghoul if you've got enough supporting guard players. Because they're going to get the touchdowns, you can just wait to 12 SPP. You can also wait to 18 SPP and take a stat up, because a movement 8 ghoul is awesome, an agility 2+ ghoul is very awesome, and a strength 4 ghoul is the dream. So I don't know, you can take multiples of these, and 1 block to start, 1 wrestle to start. That's not bad. But you can go for glory. It depends on the length of your league and the status and the meta of your other teams and the rest of your team. If you've already got guard farming, you've already got a couple of blocking linemen as well, then you can save up with that ghoul and just take the risky roll here, because the fail case of a movement 8 ghoul, and he becomes a star. So zombie linemen are going to fill out your team. You've got zombies and you've got skeletons. In all of our rosters, we kind of refer to them as zombletons because they're both 40k and they are entirely interchangeable. But they do develop slightly differently. So zombies are coming in at 40k, movement 4, strength 3, agility 4+, passing nothing, armor 9+, and regeneration. So they are resilient. Zombies tend to go on your line. They've got regen, they've got armor 9+. They are there to be punched. Block is great for them. Wrestle is also really useful, because if you don't want the zombie to move around, you just want it to get punched and drag people down as zombies do, wrestle can be really great on the line. If you want to save up 12 SPP and find a way to get a zombie guard, it will be awesome, but it's a long way to go, and zombies just that's not what they do. Block on a zombie is fantastic. Wrestle on a zombie is going to be really aggravating to your opponent. Kick is going to help your team out. So when that zombie gets a TD, when it gets the MVP, when it gets a casualty on top of another casualty, take the random general with your zombies. It's 10k, which first of all is fantastic. And secondly, when it comes to the general skills, there's basically nothing you don't want. That's hyperbole, there is, but you know, it's not bad. Block is cool. Dauntless could come in handy. Dirty Player is going to be great. Fend will be useful for you. Frenzy, as long as you've got guard and the intelligence to use it, will still be great for you. Making lots of 2-die blocks with a bit of support is going to be really profitable most of the time. Kick is great. Pro is going to be entertaining. Shadowing is the skill you don't want to roll. Strip Ball can be useful. Sure Hands might be useful as a reserve ball carrier. Tackle, well placed, will be great too, and Wrestle is key. So a general roll on a zombie is going to be entertaining for you, and for 10k it's not a bad way to take a player that is just filler and give them a little spice. The rest of your team is doing, generally speaking, great stuff, so for just a tiny tweak, if you get that opportunity to roll for excellence with a zombie, I'd be hard pressed not to take it. And the alternative to the zombie lineman is the skeleton lineman. So the skeleton lineman also comes in at 40k. Its boon is that it is movement 5 against the zombies movement 4. Strength 3, agility 4+, passing 6+. This guy can actually pass the ball. Armor 8+, regeneration thick skull. So where the zombie has just got straight armor 9+, the skeleton has got armor 8+ but has thick skull. So they are very comparable, but the zombie is going to be more resilient and the skeleton is slightly faster. So generally speaking, you want zombies to go on the line and to kind of be that filler. Skeletons with their movement 5 run around in the backfield. You probably only want about 1 or 2. They make reasonable reserve ball carriers in a pinch, but ideally that movement 5 is used to foul stuff. So the skeleton lineman, same applies with block/wrestle really, but Dirty Player is the general skill. So if you want to save up, get that skeleton Dirty Player. It's going to be handy. Your team is full of great punchers. You've got 2 mummies, you've got 2 wights, and you've got a horde of dudes. You're going to win out the grind the majority of the time. As your team develops, you're going to have more block and more guard. There's going to be more opponents on the ground. Having a cheeky movement 5 skeleton with Dirty Player to run around and just mop up is going to be awesome. And if you get sent off, nobody cares. Again, if you want at 3, you can take that random roll. Maybe you'll just get Dirty Player. Maybe you'll get block. Maybe you'll get wrestle. Maybe you'll get kick. There's a ton of cool stuff for the skeleton to take. I think you do the same thing, but if you get the choice, Dirty Player on a skeleton will help your team just by wandering around, mopping up, and guard now helps with fouls. So if the mummy does drop a guy down, he's got guard, and you've got a skeleton right there to have a wander, it's going to be good odds you're going to take that player out. Anyway, that wraps up the team development for Undead. Undead are still going to be great in a league. We've looked through all these players. They all do exactly what you want. The mummy is strength 5 punch bag. He does great work. Your blitzers run around and just apply pressure where they're needed. The ghouls, 3+ agility and dodge is going to mean that they're going to be able to handle the ball and move around and be your fastest player. And skeletons and zombies just do exactly what you need them to do. Every skill on this team is just going to make your team better. There's no holes to fill. It is just pure win as you develop and develop and develop, and that's why Undead are so good. And I think with the fact that the majority of the players have got regeneration as well, means they're going to stay good and they're just going to get better and better, and that is why Undead are such a powerful team. So really, if you've got linemen that are taking random generals, you should see a little bit of TV increase, but just exponential more use. And your key players, you get a whole bunch of choice on how to develop them. This is a really exciting team, and I really hate playing against them with my Skaven because it pairs up real well. Anyway guys, I'm going to wrap up this video. Please let me know what you think of Undead in 2020, because I think they are exceedingly solid. I'm going to disappear, and we'll see you again soon for some more Blood Bowl content. Thanks very much for watching. Thanks very much for watching. We really appreciate your support. If you want to support the show even further, please like and subscribe. It really helps us out. Or come and join us in our Patreon, link below, where you get early access to our content and monthly competitions. See you later.